Well, hello, friends. It's Deanna Fenton here, and I want to welcome you to this week's episode of Simple Steps to Online Success. So, if you watched last week, you know I was talking about I live in Northern California. I actually live very close to one of the major fires that has been burning, and we are having horrible uh, air quality. It actually got worse, just so you know. It actually that Thursday where I was talking about it, um, it became even more hazardous. I mean, it was over 500 on the air quality index, so that it was very smoky, very unhealthy air for Friday and Saturday, especially. Sunday, it started to get a little better. And fortunately, the wind shifted. Fortunately and unfortunately. Fortunately, it shifted and we did not get the smoke, but the winds were pushing the fire further. And those of you that are familiar with Northern California may know about South Lake Tahoe, which is the most beautiful, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful places on earth. And they have completely evacuated South Lake Tahoe, which is mind boggling to me. That's roughly 90 minutes away from here. And the fire originated about 30 miles from us. So, roughly 30 minutes from here. And the fire has pushed that far. The good news is there is more containment. They have actually done, the expression fighting fire with fire. They have set a number of backfires to literally turn the fire away from South Lake Tahoe. So it is headed to, last I heard, this was last night, last I heard, it is now going again further northeast, but not in the direction of Tahoe. They have basically turned it to go south of Tahoe. So almost headed, I don't know those directions, but it's further more east rather than northeast. And they literally set the fires so that as the encroaching wildfire came up, there was nothing for it to burn and it turned. Anyway, I know you don't need to hear all of this update, but it has been, for me, kind of an emotional experience because I have lots of memories, very, very happy childhood memories of going up to Lake Tahoe with my family. One of the areas that was threatened, we used to always go up there, even just for a day trip. Grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. We would come up to a community called Strawberry to go sledding and tobogganing and play in the snow because we were Bay Area kids. We didn't get snow. So it's been so emotional for me because I have those memories and, thinking about these places that I loved as a kid that they could potentially be gone. Fortunately, our wonderful CAL FIRE firefighters and firefighters literally from all over the country have banded together and they were able to save Strawberry, and they're working obviously feverishly to try and save the community of Myers, which is right part of the South Lake Tahoe area. So that's just kind of the update. Our air quality is so much better. You might be able to see it's sunny out. It's beautiful. I've certainly learned a lot about air purification systems during this period of time. So that's just kind of that update. But, who's this? Oh, I'm not sure. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure who this is because you always have to click on the link to give StreamYard permission to show your name. But anyway, thank you very much. It's so much better. I am, you like hearing the updates because you were once a firefighter. Well, bless your heart, whoever you are. I don't know. I don't think you guys can get paid enough. When I see on the news what these firefighters have to do, especially wildfires, I mean, this is just insane. it's incredible. I mean, the work that they do, and Julie, I didn't know you were a firefighter. Wow. That's amazing. The work they're doing now, bulldozing lines and setting up perimeters, again, that they are setting fires. I mean, we saw on the news one that was just amazing, because this is beautiful mountain country. This is very remote. National forests are part of it, but a lot of people live up there, and a lot of people have vacation homes up there. And one particular um, report that I saw, two beautiful homes there up in the mountains, and they're trying to save them. And so they had created this bulldozer and dozed this line to protect the houses, to light the fire on the side away, to drive and turn the fire away from these homes. And to my knowledge, they were successful to save those homes. So anyway, well, thank you, Julie. That is so fascinating. Okay. So I know enough of that. So today I'm going to be a little controversial. Oh, shocking, I know. And it's not going to be Deanna's how to do stuff in Kajabi today. I know that's helpful for many of you, and you've come to expect that from me. But I sort of felt I needed to address something that I am seeing over and over in Facebook groups. My primary source of information in Facebook groups consistently. And it's not specific to Kajabi, although because that's what I teach you, I am going to reference it as an issue that, again, Kajabi groups, I see it constantly. And again, I'm going to be controversial, but I think some of you this is going to resonate with you, because I've also spoken to a number of people who are in this digital space, and they are feeling the same way. And that is this sense of frustration and feeling like the things that we have been taught over the past however many years. I mean, I've been in this business a long time, but let's just say from my standpoint in specifically digital marketing, and specifically with Kajabi, was 2015. So we're talking 6 years. 6 years in the internet marketing can kind of be a lifetime. But I'm seeing, and again, people I've spoken to are also seeing the same thing, that the strategies that many of our internet gurus, and I'm saying that not to be derogatory, because there are people that, the gurus, but that's the only way you can really describe it. The influencers, the main people, some of the things they're teaching right now don't work. I'm sorry. And then what I see in groups are people who are just devastated because they feel, I'm going to put responsibility on them as well. They feel they did all the right things because they followed a step-by-step process that somebody gave them, and it didn't work. Now, part of what I'm going to talk about is some of the steps we take that don't set us up for success. And those, I won't blame the internet marketers, the teachers. Let me just call them the teachers, okay? I won't call them gurus. I won't make it sound derogatory. I'm just going to call them the teachers. The things the teachers tell us to do, a lot of the times they really do have the underlying message of what they should do, but they focus more on whatever the outcome is supposed to be. And by that, what I mean is, if you buy a course or a program, membership, whatever, that is designed to teach you to create a specific type of digital product and market it a specific way. You really need to look closely at that to really know a couple of things that I'm going to cover here. So the first thing, and I am going to change this. You know what? I probably shouldn't change it because I said I was going to be controversial, but I just changed gurus to teachers, and I had gurus in quotes. But here's the truth that they don't tell you. They're not going to tell you that your specific audience, your market, may not respond to the strategies that they are teaching you. And you need to know a bit more about your audience, their likes, their preferences, their lifestyle, before you choose a product to create and a strategy to market that. And I promise you, I'm not picking on this particular teacher, but there is a specific, oh, what the hell? I told you I'm going to be controversial. Amy Porterfield teaches how to create a digital course and sell it using webinars. Her program is amazing. Her program has provided many of her students with phenomenal success. Phenomenal success. And a lot of them had never done it before. It was completely new to them. And they had some specific characteristics, personality types that helped in their having this kind of success. Now, the problem I have is in that particular group, and again, I'm in a lot of groups, and I'm not picking on Amy. I'm using this as an example. I see an awful lot of people that are not having success. And because of that, they feel there's something wrong with them. Now, Amy's team and everybody in the groups rally around these people to lift them up, because we all know that's not true. That person, because they did not have success, does not make them less than. It does not necessarily mean they made a mistake. The strategy might not apply to them. Now, as I said, one of the main things, and here I say course, I'm just going to say, don't mind me as I edit my banners. I'm going to call it product, because I'm not letting everybody off the hook. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a course, a membership, or coaching, teaching and creating a coaching product, right? It's a digital product. Getting excited and having somebody tell you the way for recurring revenue is a membership, the way to make $1 million is creating a course, any of that, it's the wrong thing. The wrong step is to create the product before you build an audience, or ideally you build an audience first and you find out what they want. Now, I spoke to 2 clients recently. One is a member in my membership. Another is a client for coaching. They both had very successful products on their first launch. And by successful, I mean, it wasn't millions of dollars, right? But they were pleased with their results, their first results. But then when they went and launched it the second time, in both cases, they had very limited results. They did not have the same level of success or more, which the second time you launch it, you would think, I learned so much. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to do things maybe slightly different, or it was perfect. I'm going to do it exactly the same way. And they did not have the same results. In fact, they had worse results. And in talking to Lauren, who's my member who had this with her coaching product, we talked about the pandemic was fantastic early on that got a lot of people focused on online learning. But you kind of wonder if over a year and a half now, it's a year and a half, there's some Zoom fatigue going on, right? Like video, having to sit and watch a recording. I mean, there is a bit of fatigue associated in our audience's world. So knowing our audience and communicating with them as much as we can kind of give us that insight into, have things changed before we invest a lot of our limited time and limited funds in launching in a certain way and creating the product first, even the first time. It's a mistake until you truly can say you know what your audience needs. I've even seen people swear up and down that they had done all the market validation calls, and the people told them that this is exactly what they want, and they launch it and it's crickets. It's hard. I'm not telling you it's easy. It's just trying to keep your finger on the pulse, because sometimes too, people are telling us what they want, but they're not telling us they're willing to pay for what we want, for what they want. That you have to understand and communicate to them what the level of urgency and need truly is. And part of that is really understanding what true priority your audience places on solving the problem that your course or membership or program can help them with, and what they're willing to give up in addition to investing money. Believe me, I'm going to leave this on a happier note. I'm not trying to make this really negative. I just really want you to understand the biggest reason your course doesn't sell initially is you probably misunderstood your audience's need, or you're focusing on an audience that isn't necessarily the right audience for what you offer. And it's hard because it's a very busy and loud and overwhelming social media world, right? It is so difficult to stand out. But not truly getting to the heart. First of all, we all know you gotta niche down. You have got to focus your messaging very specifically to that audience. And it doesn't mean everybody. It means the more you can narrow it down, to parents between 30 and 40 who have adopted children that are between the ages of 3 and 7. I'm just shouting out to one of my members, Chris Freeark, because that's her market. Um, and, parents who are struggling to be able to communicate to their adopted children about the facts around their adoption. I mean, that's pretty specific. That's really specific, where you can really isolate all of the compelling questions and fears and frustrations that a parent in that position might have. That's going to help with your messaging, and the messaging of how you can help solve their problem starts long before your launch. It has to. And part of that is expressing to your audience that you understand, and how you understand, and how maybe you had the same challenges that they're having right now, and how you were able to make progress and succeed and accomplish what it is that they want to accomplish. So that's where, again, knowing your audience and having an audience, and it is a numbers game. And I know Stu McLaren, and I'm not going to pick on Stu other than he does focus on the fact that you don't need to have a large audience. And that's probably true. But that, again, is a factor of how well do you know this audience? How well have you communicated with them so that you've gained their trust? You've established yourself as an authority, and you've established that you understand their challenges and you have a solution. And it's not easy. You can do it, absolutely. And there are lots of people. But if you've done what everybody has said and you still haven't had success, I don't want you to beat yourself up, because it's a long game. The overnight successes are, the unicorns, honestly. And I will give credit to a lot of people like Amy Porterfield, because she'll say, look, it's taken me 13 years to be where she is. And some of us don't necessarily want to be where she is. Like, I don't want 25 people on a team and, $13 million a year would be pretty cool. But, I don't want to build an organization like that. So that's why, again, I really want you to kind of take a step back and look at who you're trying to serve, how specific you can get towards who they are, and how you can help, and what you can do to get that message to them. Now, I also see, in a very similar vein, people may have a connection with their audience. They understand them. They understand their challenges because they've been there, or they've helped other people with similar challenges, or the same challenges, ideally. And they have that kind of credibility and authority. But they sign up for a platform like Kajabi and they're lost. They don't know the first thing to do. And it's interesting because typically, and here is, I really want to make this clear, is that don't blame the platform here. Because it's a tool. It's like you build a crappy little shed in your backyard and you blame the hammer. Well, did you have a blueprint? And that's the number one thing. Did you have a plan? And once you had a plan, did you have the right materials? And then, did you have the right tool? And if you had the right tool, then it had to be the other things that something wasn't right. The wood wasn't cut properly. the plan wasn't there, or you just figured you didn't need a plan and you were going to lay some planks together and hammer them in. So that's the part that is like, don't blame the tool. Please don't blame the tool. And I don't care if it's Kajabi or Active Campaign or well, some of the webinar platforms, you can blame them because some of them are just absolutely not reliable. But this is the part that I really want to get across from you. You got to have a plan, right? And I see fewer questions in the Kajabi group about creating their course because they either have taken some, they may have taken a course on creating a course, and they can upload their content. They can organize it. I'm not saying it's always done properly, but for the most part, people can create their modules. They can create their lessons. They have a flow. They have supporting materials. When you do that in Kajabi, it's pretty freaking straightforward. I mean, I don't see a lot of people struggle with that. But then it's the marketing. And what I also want to say, the truth that the marketing teachers don't teach you. Most of them don't. James Wedmore does. There's not one way to launch your products. And you really, again, need to understand where your audience is. So, for example, somebody posted in a large free public Facebook group and said, when I say the word webinar, what do you think? And I would say it was 80% negative reaction, as in a waste of time, somebody who spends 40 minutes telling me how great they are, and then they try and then the last 20 minutes is a sales pitch. Somebody doesn't provide any value, and then the whole thing is a sales pitch. It was probably 80% negative reaction to the idea of a webinar. And I'm here to tell you, getting me on a sales webinar these days is going to be really hard because I don't have an hour out of my life. An hour would be relatively short. And especially if it's somebody that I don't know super well and I don't know from their past history, are they the type of person that really does provide a lot of great, useful content on the front end before, and let's be honest, you hear the word webinar and, there's a sales pitch involved. And I don't call that's not a bad thing. God, no, I'm all for sales pitches. But there's a really easy way to segue from providing value to here's how you take the next steps. And let me be honest, Amy Porterfield's a master at it. But you have to understand where your people are. Are they Zoom fatigued? Is the idea of getting on and having to look at a screen for an hour really something they're going to do? My guess is if you're selling to more corporate type audiences, corporations, businesses, those types of services for them, maybe a webinar still works because, good Lord, they don't have much of a choice about getting on Zoom calls, right? But if your audience is moms, there's a great audience and a great example. Do they really have an hour and a half to watch a webinar? And boy, you'd have to deliver some slam dunk content. And I mean, I know there are people that can, but it's got to be super compelling to get a lot of our audience, that a lot of the different types of audiences that we all have, to get them on a webinar. And that's where I really also, this is one of the things that I really also want to focus on is you need to do a launch strategy that you're comfortable with. Now, we all know, and I do completely agree, we've got to push ourselves out of our comfort zone sometimes. But I've also seen a huge swing in the digital marketing space towards making it easy for you, and especially making it easy for your audience. If you can make it easy and you can make it valuable. That's why challenges are super big right now. And I'm not saying there's work involved with a challenge, to be sure, especially getting people to sign up for the challenge. But generally, if it's a topic that you are passionate about, creating the content is generally not too much, mainly because you don't want to give them too much content. Because it's just a fact of life. As the challenge goes on, you're going to lose people. Because, I missed the first 2 days and I wasn't able to finish, the first two worksheets. I'm just going to skip it. And then they don't go through the rest of the challenge and they don't show up for your final webinar or however you're going to present your offer. So making it simple for people and making it easy and actionable, you're going to have better results, because small incremental things that give them that small win. And I've been guilty of this, where my tendency is to want to give too much. And if you want to give them too much, I was in a challenge and oh my God, this woman had amazing, fantastic content, but she also invited in experts to help supplement what she was teaching. So like literally every day, it was probably an hour. And then there was a secondary training and it just got to be too much. And yeah, I don't think I made it through day 2. So there's just a fine line, and you need to make it, where would you go through it yourself? And so that's why short trainings, easy step-by-step, choose one thing to focus on each day that can be done in 15 minutes. You're going to have better luck. Creating what's called a self-liquidating offer. And I've got lots of videos on YouTube where I'm talking about self-liquidating offers. Those are simple, because if you can provide tremendous value at a super low price, you skip the whole lead magnet part. Lead magnets have their place, but even those are not necessarily that successful these days. But a self-liquidating offer where you actually get somebody who pulls out a credit card for a $27, $37 item, and you give them that tremendous value for whatever it is that they receive. And then kind of the natural next step is they want to know what's next. And that's when you can come in and offer your coaching program, your full course, your membership, whatever it is. So I know that some of my members feel this way now too, is like, oh my gosh, an SLO funnel is so much easier. It's less stress on the front end and the marketing of it. And certainly if you're passionate about your topic, on the presentation of it. So there's new options that I want you to be aware of and open to. Now, all those things I just described, that's again a stumbling block I see that people talk about, that it's not so much creating a product in Kajabi, it's then the marketing. And And there's lots of reasons that then people feel that their launches failed. But you know the old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So the deceptively simple tools that can help, because I see this all the time, and I'm going to be super basic with you. If you're old school like me, a piece of paper or one of those oh my god, paper, the large paper on an easel, right? That you can take your post-it notes and create a funnel. And all a funnel is, it's not some magic wand necessarily, but you visually need to understand your customer's journey from where they encounter you, where they come in contact with you, with all the steps through to you actually having them become a customer. And whether it's mapping out an SLO funnel, a challenge, or a webinar, if the webinar is really appealing to your market, or any of the many other options that people are coming up with these days, you need to map it out because you need to know the steps. What do you have to do next? And I know my members are probably, the members of the Kajabi Flight Crew Club are sick of me saying this, but you map it out and you work your way backwards, because it's just going to, in the execution of building this funnel, it's going to make it so much easier. Now, you also know I have another tool that I love, which is called Lucid Chart. It's a flow chart app online where you can do the exact same thing, right? It's just like with the little post-it notes on a piece of paper or on the whiteboard. You can drag and create and map out a funnel. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's super, super helpful, because then you have a map. And you have a map of your customer's journey. And if you need to tweak things, then you always have it, the document, and then you can say, I needed to send one more email on cart close day. And you can do that next time. Or I really needed to add an additional workshop date on my SLO funnel. You just incorporate those in, and it's really much easier. And you have a plan. You have a strategy. And that's really the thing that I see most people are missing. Okay, let's see. There's some comments. Oh, hi, Julie. Let's see. What did Julie say? Many times that is what they don't tell you in their teaching course, that it takes time for some. That's very true. That's very true. And like I said, when there are the unicorns in the group, and bless their hearts, they share their successes, as they should, because, we can learn from them. But sometimes it makes those that are still struggling, makes you feel kind of less than. But it's okay, because sometimes these things just take time. Absolutely. And that's the part that I, again, it's difficult to say that, because many times some of us are in a rush. We're in a hurry. There is a sense of urgency, but you need to be able to take the small steps, make small wins along the way, and celebrate your small wins, and just keep moving forward. So this is a little different. I know wasn't exactly, here's how you do X, Y, and Z in Kajabi. I'm still doing those, but I really felt compelled to talk about this today, because I see so many people frustrated, feeling bad, confused, and upset, quite honestly. And I really feel badly for people. It's not your fault. It's understanding these things take time and you need to have a strategy. And sometimes if that strategy doesn't work, doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. Maybe there was just one thing that needed to be done, the extra email, another webinar or workshop, revamping the content in your challenge slightly. And all you can do is keep pushing forward and test and analyze as well. So thank you all for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous weekend coming up. If there are, and if you watched on the replay, let me know. Let me know what you thought of this content, your experiences maybe in creating products and stuff. And, Julie said, thanks for reminding me about the Post-it note board. Yeah. Creating that visual map makes all the difference, I think. Replay, give me hashtag replay, questions and topics that you have, topics that you'd like to hear more about. Just let me know in the comments. And I would love, because I'm here to give you guys information that helps you in your journey as well. So till next week, I'm Deanna Fenton, and it's been my pleasure to talk to you today, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.